Good evening, good morning to all the participants. Welcome to our COP26 side event on mutual learning program for enhanced transparency. Capacity building for reporting under Article 6.2 and 13. On behalf of the organizers of this event, Ministry of the Environment Japan, MOEJ, and Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, IGES, I'd like to warmly welcome all of you to this event. My name is Chisa Umemiya. I am a research manager at IGES. Many countries are currently making efforts to prepare for the implementation of the Paris Agreement's enhanced transparency framework. This certainly includes Japan. MOEJ and IGES, together with our partner organizations, have been implementing the mutual learning program for enhanced transparency since last year. In this program, a pair of organizations from different countries learn from each other on how to prepare reporting in line with the Paris Agreement reporting rules through exchanging reporting exercise of climate actions. This year, 3 pairs, which include 7 organizations from 5 countries, work together under this program. Today at this side event, we would like to present you the activities of the 2 pairs working on a topic of Article 6.2 reporting, which is reporting of countries' engagement in cooperative approaches, such as the Joint Credit Mechanism, JCM, Japan implements with its 17 partner countries around the world. Countries participating in the mutual learning program are also the countries that implement the JCM. So the 2 pairs have taken the JCM as an example of Article 6.2 reporting under this mutual learning program. We have 2 main discussion sessions today. In part 1, we will hear about the activities of the pairs this year. We have participants of the program as panelists, and they are from Indonesia, Mongolia, Thailand, and Japan. In part 2, we will then hear how the future activities of the program could be further developed. We have the future potential participants of the program as panelists, and they are from Laos PDR and Cambodia. I would like to thank all the panelists who are here today with us. This session is for about 1.5 hours, and we would like to ask you to stay until the end of this event. For audience, please use the Q&A box in front of you if you have any questions to ask. To begin this side event, I would like to now invite Mr. Kazuya Inoue, Director, Office of Market Mechanisms, Climate Change Policy Division, Global Environmental Bureau, MOEJ, for his opening remark. Kazuya Inoue-san, you have the floor.
Thank you, Memiya-san. Distinguished participant, dear colleagues and friends, I'm Kazuya Inoue from the Ministry of the Environment of Japan. Thank you for participating in our COP26 side event, the Mutual Learning Program for Enhanced Transparency today. On behalf of the Ministry of Environment, I would like to say a few words. Climate change is now one of the most important policy and economic challenges, and the international community must work together to reach the 1.5-degree target under the Paris Agreement. Japan has committed to carbon neutrality in 2050 and a reduction in emissions of 46% from 2013 by 2030. Japan will also make best effort to meet the challenges of our 50% reduction target by 2030. We are committed to promote domestic efforts, and at the same time, we'll make every effort to contribute to the transition to decarbonization in the world through our technology and cooperation. Many countries are now prepared for the implementation of an enhanced transparency framework under the Paris Agreement. Transparency is the foundation of climate measures. Japan will revitalize the use of market mechanisms such as the JCM in line with the Paris Agreement's Article 6. To reach this goal, it will be essential that participating countries enhance the transparency action that they take. The Ministry of the Environment of Japan has been supporting the mutual learning program for enhanced transparency since 2020. We hope that sharing the findings and experiences of the program can facilitate a deeper understanding of future biennial transparency reports. Last but not least, I hope that this event will encourage participants to connect with each other and create renewed inspiration for their effort towards decarbonization. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kazuya Inoue-san, for your opening remark. Now, before moving on to the main discussion parts of this event, we will present you the overview of the mutual learning program activities this year. I would like to now invite my colleague, Tomohiko Hattori, for delivering his presentation. Tomohiko-san, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Shimemiya-san. I hope you can see the slide.
Yes, very clearly.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'd like to thank the Ministry of the Environment of Japan and all the distinguished speakers and guests for attending this side event. And as already introduced by Memiya-san, I'd like to briefly introduce our mutual learning program for enhanced transparency, which is capacity building initiative we have been implementing since last year. And as an example, I would like to focus in this presentation on the pairs working on the Article 6.2 reporting. Oh, and sorry, I'm Tomohiko Hattori. I'm a researcher in the climate and energy area from IGES. So before going to the mutual learning program, I would like to briefly see the possible reporting schedule under Article 6.2 and Article 13. So for Article 6.2, as we all know, that currently the Article 6 rule book is being negotiated in the current COP. And in less than maybe 2 years, the reporting through initial report and annual information and regular information could be started. And for Article 13, some countries may be preparing for the final BUR to be submitted by next year, for transitioning to the first BTR to be submitted by the end of 2024. So moving on to the mutual learning program, we have set 3 general objectives. So first is to understand how to apply the reporting guidance under the Paris Agreement, specifically Article 6.2 and Article 13. And second is to explore improvement areas of next reports, including first BTR and also Article 6.2 reporting. And the third is to strengthen a network of institutions and individuals working on the BTRs and also Article 6.2 reporting. So also we have set some approaches, basic approaches for this mutual learning program. And first is, it is run for participants. So we think it's important that every participant can contribute to the detailed design of the program. And I think it's very important that the exercise topics are of interest by each participant, and the timelines are in line with the availability of each participant, because this exercise will be in addition to their daily tasks. And second point, it should aim to generate tangible outputs. So we try as much as possible, and that the exercise is as practical as possible. So the outputs from this exercise can be a basis for actual reporting in the future. And third, it is for learning. So we put more value on the process rather than whether the outputs are correct or not. So we hope this process will facilitate, for example, internal coordination in each country, inter-ministerial coordination or within with the relevant organizations. And also, as this program is not official, we can have informal and hypothetical and discussion based on the data, and they can be used for the exercises. And finally, it should be enjoyable in a way that the views or ideas expressed by the individual participants. And I think it's important that the political constraints does not prevent expression of the opinions by each participant. So this year, as already introduced, we have 3 pairs working on 2 topics. And today we have invited participants from Thailand and Indonesia and Mongolia working on the topic of Article 60 reporting. So I would like to focus on this topic. So this is the overview of the program on the Article 60 reporting. In June, we started contacting the candidate countries with the topics. And after confirming the participation, we had the kickoff meeting in August and to introduce this program and provide guidance of the exercise. And then we worked on the first exercise about 1 month. So the exercise was to draft the Article 60 reporting using the JCM as example, and followed by questions to each other's deliverable. And then in October, we met for the second time at the main meeting. And there we presented each other's assignment and answering questions to questions asked and with follow-up discussions. And for second exercise, which we are now working on, it's a bit lighter than the first exercise. It's to refine the deliverable from first exercise based on the discussion from the main meeting and provide written answers to the questions asked. And in December, IGES will organize Asian Transparency Workshop, and there we are planning to share the outcomes or findings from the mutual learning program with other countries. And in January, we'll have final meeting, feedback meeting to review the program. So as I mentioned, the first exercise was to draft hypothetical Article 60 reporting using the JCM as an example. So this year we developed a template to make a draft and in accordance with the draft Article 60 reporting guidance. So in the left-hand side, we can see that template. And the basic instruction was that when there is existing reference for the reporting, such as NDC information, the existing reference can be used for this drafting. And when there is no relevant information at this point, assumptions can be made to make this reporting. And I think this process facilitates to know what is the reporting requirement, and also what is the gap in the necessary information to report. And in the right side, we can see the picture of our main meeting that we had in October. So I'd like to introduce what we have achieved. I think we have achieved some important points, but I would like to introduce 2 points. So first is, I think we have learned from each other by sharing relevant experiences, ideas, and status of domestic discussion in each country. So for example, we discussed how arrangements for authorization of mitigation outcomes, or ITOMOS, will be established in each country. So some countries mentioned that the CDM experience can be basis for this Article 6 under Paris Agreement. And also we discussed how these ITOMOS will be tracked by the registry. So some countries already have a domestic registry for domestic carbon market. So that registry can or already incorporates the international units, including the JCM credits. Also, we discussed how the JCM will contribute to partner countries' NDC target, and some countries have both unconditional NDC target and conditional target. So we discussed how the JCM can contribute to each target. And the second point is, I think we have achieved to identify gaps in understanding, and as well as identifying points for further consideration. So for example, we have identified gaps in understanding of Article 6 terminologies and how to understand it in the context of the JCM, such as ITOMOS. So ITOMOS is a basic terminology for Article 6, so it's important that we have identified the gaps in understanding so we can continue discussion to have common understanding. And also we have discussed how corresponding adjustment may be affected between Japan and its partner countries. And although this will depend on the Article 6 rules, which is under negotiation, we identified points for further consideration. And finally, for future implementation of this program, I'd like to raise 3 points. The first is that it's important to establish common basis when we do exercises. So as I introduced, we prepared a template for drafting of reporting. But in addition, it's better to have good guidance, for example, on the definition of terminologies, specific terminologies on Article 6, and how to understand them in the context of the JCM to facilitate exercises. And the second is when the Article 6 rulebook is adopted, and we have adopted Article 6 to guidance, and this exercise can be even more practical. So I think with this adapted Article 6 to guidance, the commitment from each country can be enhanced, and also this exercise can be customized for the demand from each country. And finally, this mutual learning program can further contribute to develop a common understanding of the JCM and Article 6 to inviting more countries. So the more the JCM partner countries have common understanding on the JCM and Article 6.2, the more consistent the reported information will be. So really this establishment of common understanding is key to have consistent and transparent reporting among JCM participating countries. Well, that's all from my side. So thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Hattori-san, for your excellent presentation, summarizing the key features of the program and also highlighting the key achievements that we have been able to make together with partner countries. I just would like to see if any questions on his presentation, both from panelists and also from the audience, if there is any. I see no questions. Also from panelists and participants, I see no questions. So probably if there is any question, we can come back to Hattori-san later on. So thank you very much, Hattori-san, for your presentation. Now let's move to the first part of today's main discussion session. And for this session, I'd like to ask my colleague, Toru-san, to moderate the session. Toru-san, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Chisa-san. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, maybe all over the world. So let's start the part one discussion. So all of the distinguished guests, I'm honored to be here joining this webinar as a side event of Japan Pavilion at COP26. So firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Toru Taguchi from IGES. And the same as Chisa-san and Tomohiko-san, I'm going to moderate this part one discussion. In this part one discussion, so we will have discussion about how we organize this program and what and how we learn from this program based on the experiences of the participants. As Tomohiko-san explained in his presentation, Article 6.2 reporting is quite complicated and difficult to understand for everyone. So this is why we created this mutual learning program to help the participant or help the user of this Article 6.2 guideline understand this reporting. So it is quite simple. And we are also participating in this program. I mean, the IGES or Japanese the members also participate in this program and learn a lot from the other participants. So we want to share our experiences today with you. Then hope this discussion or part one discussion will give you a concrete idea or picture of this program. Okay, so move on to the main session. Please turn on your camera for the three speakers. Okay, so today we have three colleagues or speakers from different countries, Thailand, Mongolia, and Indonesia. So please turn on your camera. My colleague, Pravina-san, Dinda-san, and Ogi-san. Okay, thank you very much. So they are actually participating in this mutual learning program and learning Article 6.2 of Paris Agreement about the reporting with us this year. So please let me introduce them first. Firstly, Dr. Pravina-san from Thailand. She's with the Thailand Greenhouse Gas Management Organization. We call it TGO usually. The members of TGO are enthusiastically participating in this mutual learning program on Article 6.2 reporting in 2020 and 2021. Next, Ogi-san, she's from Mongolia. She's with the Ministry of Environment and Tourism of Mongolia. And also Dinda-san, she's with Coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs of Indonesia. So both of the Ogi-san and Dinda-san are also working closely with IGES on JCM related activities. And also as Chisa mentioned that both countries, Mongolia and Indonesia, are working as a pair country in this program. Okay, thank you for joining. So thank you for all you for joining this webinar. So in this part, I would like you to frankly share your thoughts and opinions about this program so that the audience could know well this program. And after this session, hopefully. So today I prepared the 4 guiding questions for this discussion. So I would like to ask 2 questions at one time. Then later on, I will ask the rest of 2 questions. So let me share my screen. Yes. So this is the first one. This is guided question. So I will ask you 2 questions first. So what did you find that mutual learning program activities that you engage in 2021? The second one is the building on your existing knowledge. What could you learn through the mutual learning program? Yes, these are the 2 questions that I want to ask you at the first. And then if you are ready, I want to ask that with the Dr. Pavina-san. Then when answering the question, also you can add your self-introduction at the beginning of the answers if you want, because just I briefly introduce you, but if possible, just explain yourself at the beginning of your answer to those questions. So if you're ready, I want to start with Pavina-san. So I will.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Takushi-san.
Yep.
For your questions, in case of Thailand, because we engaged with the MLP program activities since last year, so we can compare the difference between these 2 years. Because last year it looks like that we just start and we try to read the text and find and figure out that what shall we do if we need to submit the report. I mean, the initial report to the annual report or regular report, and how can we do the corresponding adjustment, and also the authorization, the arrangement of authorization. That I think that we get many things like we can like the options for institutional arrangement. We can authorize it as a scheme level. I mean JCM, and we can authorize it at the project level or at the transfer level. I mean, issuance, each time we authorize it. And so, and we have the question that whom shall be the authority that authorize it. Because for JCM in Thailand, the agreement, the bilateral agreement was approved by the cabinet. So we wonder that about the authorization, it shall be approved by the cabinet, or it can be approved by the National Committee on Climate Change Policy, or it shall be approved by the Joint Committee. So these are what we try to figure out, that what shall we do if the CME already adopt the Article 6.2 text guidance. I mean, but for this year, because what we know a lot that like Hatali-san just mentioned, that we have the template. So we just followed the template and try to figure out what that we still don't know about how to do all of this work. And we learn much from Chile, because we have different NDC target. Chile have they have a single year budget and peak. That's very, we never know about this before. So we can learn a lot from Chile and from filling the template that Hattori-san prepare. So I think that was we learned from these 2 years participation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Pavina-san. Yes, what you mentioned just now is a very good point, I think. Maybe your thought or the insight is coming from the exact experience during this mutual learning program. If you didn't actually practice the reporting of the Article 6.2, maybe we cannot, or we couldn't find that kind of thought. I mean, who should do this
Yes.
should do this activity, or who should approve these documents, etc. So it's a really nice point that you mentioned. It's really nice pointed out. Thank you very much, Pavina-san. So let's discuss it later on. Okay, thank you, Pavina-san. Okay, next I would like to ask Ogi-san. Ogi-san?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Greetings from Mongolia. And Taro-san already introduced me, but I work for the Climate Change Research and Cooperation Center under the Ministry of Environment in Japan. Oh, sorry, and Ministry of Environment and Tourism of Mongolia. And I'm in charge of the JCM Secretariat between Mongolia and Japan. So for the, I have to answer first your question, yeah? Hello?
Yes, sure, please.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for the first question, we participated in IGES initiated mutual learning program in last year to learn how to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through MRV. Within the framework of the program, the two countries learned from each other's experiences. In recent years, since the ratification of the Paris Agreement, we faced the challenges in understanding Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement, and also a better understanding of future carbon market mechanism. In particular, we have to learn more about how to report within Article 6.2 and how to make a corresponding adjustment to avoid double counting. So therefore, we have requested IGES to continue this this program this year. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Sure, sure.
So this is the answer for the first question. And the second question, next question, what could you learn through the MLP? At the current moment, we are only focusing on our country's case. Sharing the experience with Indonesia, getting to know another country's experiences on these same issues helped us clarify what we don't understand. And in this MLP program, we are not only sharing the experiences with Indonesia, but we are also learning from Japan's experience, which means this program includes 3 countries. So most importantly, we gained critical information about what corresponding adjustment is, what ITMOs are, and details of the required reports through the MLP. Also, Article 6.2 is a new issue for all of us, and we are facing new challenges together. Therefore, we need to learn new knowledge and information, and further share our experiences with each other. I think, yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much, Ogi-san. Yes. Also, you really appreciate your the findings or your impression of the mutual learning program. Yes, as you mentioned, at the beginning we don't know what the correspondence adjustment is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we use or usually or easily use the term corresponding adjustment or authorization or something, but it sounds simple, but it means a bit difficult, or for us a bit difficult to understand, right? Now, so then this is our exactly first impression. Then through the mutual learning program, gradually we are learning what the corresponding adjustment is, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so thank you very much for your input. Yes, your frank thought or the impression is really important for us. Yes, thank you very much, Ogi-san. Okay, so next move to Linda-san.
Hey.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Tabuchi-san. And hello, good day, everyone. Thank you for inviting me and for the chance to speak at this side events. My name is Dinda Fauzani, and I am from Indonesia. And my day-to-day work is to assist the JCM implementation at Indonesia JCM Secretariat. We are working under the Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs of Indonesia. So I find that the mutual learning program is useful as I gain more knowledge, as well as a connection with my fellow Indonesian colleagues, also the Mongolian representative. And I found that our discussions were fruitful, and we still have couples of meeting left until the beginning of next year. And I cannot wait to learn and discuss some more. So in this regard, I thank IGES and MOG for organizing this event. And as Ogi-san said before, we have also a mutual learning program last year about the MRV with Mongolia. And this year we are doing the mutual learning program about Article 6.2 of Paris Agreement. So I think specifically, as also Ogi-san mentioned, that we could learn about the corresponding adjustment and how to report the internationally transferred mitigation outcomes, or IGMOs, under Article 6. So even though that the one that we're doing right now is not an official translation from the agreement, from the Paris Agreement, at least we have a common understanding and are on the same page about this. I think that is all for me, Taguchi-san. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Linda-san. Yes, actually now we are on the way of learning the Article 6.2, and then actually Article 6 has not been decided yet, so we have to do. So we are now struggling. We have to wait for the decision, but we have to anyway learn about Article 6.2 reporting. Anyway, this is the kind of requirement in the future. So this now we are in the kind of the swimming in the sea like this. Okay, thank you for your input. Yes, then so the first two questions asked for the frank impression and findings in terms of the experience of you actually participating in this program. I think your thought or your findings or your experience is coming from the actually you experienced in the major learning program. So as you may have noticed, I mean the audience, all of the audience, so noted that compared to the learning alone or having similar study partner allowed them to have different perspective, ideas, understanding from each other. Specifically for the Thai case, now they are working with the Chilean colleagues. Then both party has different method. They choose a different method of correspondent adjustment. So the totally different. It looks different, and also the way of the calculate the number or the kind of data thing or everything is totally different. So it's quite interesting for all of us, including I mean the Japanese colleagues was. So this is also very nice occasion or nice opportunity for them to learn how the Article 6.2 reporting works in the different countries. Yes, so I think this is a kind of key factor that could accelerate our learning and training process through this program. And also, I think this major learning program is a particularly good program for learning these issues. Actually, we all, I mean, including Japan, are at the same level of understanding Article 6.2 reporting. I mean, we are all of us are beginner, a kind of beginner, because there is no definite answer and template of this reporting. So as you may know, that the Article 6 of Paris Agreement has not been decided yet, so it is still under negotiation. So it means there's no teacher or no textbook about this issue. Even under this kind of situation, we are trying to train ourselves through this mutual learning program. So what we can do and how we can learn about this reporting requirement is either to study it with some expert and or to study it with other partners, like other partner countries by exchanging the idea and opinion. So I think this is the reason why I say mutual learning program is a very nice way of learning about this reporting requirement. So in this program, a mutual learning program, we had really good condition for learning environment where we could easily ask questions each other and express our thought and idea in discussion. So it seems like we are now, it seems like in the mutual learning program, our mood or atmosphere is like this. So we can easily ask the question and exchange the thought like this. So maybe we can relax and ask the question to each other. I think this could be also positive characteristic of this program. Okay, so thank you for your answering to the first two questions. So okay, let's move on to the next question. There are two more questions there. So I will share again my questions. Yes, like this. Yes. So next two questions. So the third one, what do you think remaining challenges and gaps might be? The last one, so what do you suggest to include in the future activities of the mutual learning program or any other capacity building initiative? So these questions are asking about the future actions of the mutual learning program. So based on the answer to the first two questions, so we can talk about the future activity related to the mutual learning program. Okay. So as the same order, the first one, so could you ask Pavina-san, Dr. Pavina first?
Yes, thank you for your questions. I think that the challenges may be from the linkages between Article 6 and Article 13, that because I think that there's many things that may be a little bit overlap, like reporting and the review, because Article 6 also have the technical expert review, and some information will be considered by Article 13 expert review team. So I think that I'm not sure that what might happen after the adoption. And another thing is about the linkage between Article 6 and other international mitigation purposes like CORSIA. So if we also use the GSM credit for CORSIA purpose, so how can we report? Because there will be no balance. I think that CORSIA would not set up a database and check I like double counting between CORSIA and maybe, I'm not sure, because it what we must explore in the future. So I think there are two things, Article 13 and other international purposes. So, and for the future activities, I think that after the adoption of the Article 6, I think we must confirm many issues like the time, the schedule for submit the report, or the way to do the corresponding adjustment. That's because during the exercise, we have many things like we propose that we need the transferring country need to round down or round up, something like that, for conservative, to assure the conservativeness of the emission reduction, something like that. So I think that we need to confirm what we have done and to figure out and the thing that we need to do in the future. So I think that we still have many things to learn in next year, in this year and next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pavina-san. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, you're right, totally right. So there are many uncertainties. So many things that have not been confirmed yet. So we have a lot of things to understand or to learn for the future thing. And then specifically the connection between the Article 6 and 13, yes, it is definitely there is some connection, but it's a bit complicated to show or to follow those connections. So maybe all of us are exactly struggling how we can do or we can meet those requirements or something. No, you are right. So for all of us, these are the gaps or the challenges for the future. But we don't know how to do it. This is the fact. I think. Thank you very much, Dr. Pavina. Yes. So next, can I ask Ogi-san?
Yeah, thank you, Taguchi-san. Yeah, I definitely agree with the Pavina-san linkage between Article 13 and 6. And also, it may be necessary to clarify how to report after the approval of the Article 6 book. 6 rule book. We also need to have a common understanding of definition of terms. At the reporting stage, it's expected that all countries implementing the GCM will need a clear and user-friendly template calculating all necessary information to report. Moreover, there is a need to have a common understanding of the information and the detailed arrangements for the reporting. For the future activities, we all need to consolidate our knowledge and information within the Article 6. We have some issues that are still unclear. There is a need for complete training on reporting arrangements in all GCM countries. We may also need to develop a handbook that explains all these new Article 6 reporting details. And also in the future, within the MLP and other capacity building programs, we believe it would be helpful to include training on the carbon trading and also the how to estimate emission reduction of mitigation actions planned in the industry within the MLP and the other capacity building programs. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ogi-san. Yes, I will take note your the request about the future activity or training program. And then your first part, yes, we maybe all of us totally agree with your idea. We need a kind of template or a user-friendly guidebook or something. Yeah. If it exists, it's quite helpful for all of the countries and to who have to meet the requirement of Article 6.2 reporting and also Article 13, I think. Yes, that's right, that's right. But maybe this is the true. Yes, which means now the requirements is really complicated, and it makes us like confused totally. Just we feel like we have to do that, but we need to how to do it or something. Yes, you are right, totally right. Okay, thank you very much, Oni-san. Okay, yes. So can I ask Dinda-san?
I think one of the gaps that Hattori-san mentioned in his presentation is the corresponding adjustment and its impact to the JCM credits. And I agree with this because that will be the one that we should discuss more between the government of Indonesia and the government of Japan. We also have to choose which corresponding adjustment method to be used. And I also agree with Ogi-san. We need a definite time and term because the time frame to report, because the starting point and the fulfillment of NDC is different in each country. So I think furthermore, the activities covered on the MLP are quite technical. And internally, in my opinion, one of the remaining challenges is to disseminate the information between the stakeholders in Indonesia, for example, the relevant ministry and our colleagues. I think that is. And then about the suggestion to include in future activities. So I also wish that there is a template or requirements. And if the rulebook of Article 6 has been adopted, we go to the mutual learning program in a more practical way, as you said. So I think that it has been 2 years also that we haven't met each other due to this pandemic. And if it's safe to travel again and the travel restriction has been lifted, I suggest for an intensive offline training, maybe in Japan. And it will be good to have a mutual cooperation with more than 4 countries, for example, and between the developed and developing country will be also good as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Dinda-san. Yes, your suggestion is totally agree with your suggestion. Yes, maybe if we include more countries to learn this kind of the issue, yes, it's more it could be more helpful for all of us, I think, because each country had a different situation and condition, also the requirement and also uncertainty or everything. Maybe it could be a kind of resources for learning. So you are right. Then I hope we could get together in Japan, specifically maybe in Tokyo, in the future, and then get to know each other and also exchange the information and knowledge among us. Okay, thank you very much for all of us, for all of you. And all the insight or the findings are very helpful. Maybe it could help the audience to understand what's going on in the mutual learning program. Now, actually, now we are focusing on basically the technical issues, I think. Yeah, it's true, because most of the uncertainty related to the technical thing. I mean, maybe at the beginning, there are many technical terms that not easy understandable. Then some part, when we see the corresponding adjustment, is very difficult to understand system. So maybe we need facing this kind of program at the beginning of the Article 6.2 reporting. Yes, that's right. Thank you very much. So thank you again for sharing your thought and idea for the future actions. So maybe as you expressed, we need to learn more about basic knowledge about this Article 6.2 for further understanding of its reporting. Yes, so as we discussed, we need more learning and participating in to understand Article 6.2 reporting in the future. So we will improve and elaborate this mutual learning program for the next year or coming future together with you. So based on your feedback. Okay, thank you for your feedback and the future plan on this issue. And then maybe almost random time, but today we also have a speaker from Ministry of the Environment in Japan in this part one discussion. Mr. Masaki Nakayama-san, maybe you all of your speakers or know Nakayama-san. So he's with the Office of Market Mechanism Global Environment Bureau or Ministry of the Environment Japan. And he's also participating in this mutual learning program as an advisory member. So I want to ask Nakayama-san to share your findings about this program. So Nakayama-san, if you are ready, you have a floor.
Thank you, Taguchi-san. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay.
Okay. This is Masaki Nakayama from Ministry of the Environment of Japan. I'd like to express my impressions of this mutual learning program that I have been also participating in this year. First of all, thank you for your cooperation and participation in this mutual learning program. Your active participation makes this program more attractive, beneficial, and enjoyable for all the participants. And I really appreciate your feedback on the remaining issues as well. One of the purpose of this program is to identify issues and clarify what preparations are needed for future reports. So I was glad to hear from you. It is also useful as an opportunity for us, Japan side, to gain new awareness about this program. Now, in the absence of clear rules regarding the method of reporting, I feel that it is necessary for us to share opinion in order to increase transparency. And I think the definition and the interpretation of some technical words are very complicated too, such as fast transfer and corresponding adjustments. In the exercise, we have a draft report prepared, but I think that the process of report making is more important than the result. Because if we can organize what we need in its process, we should be less troubled with the actual report. This fiscal year's mutual learning program will continue until January next year.
and we would like to continue it in the next fiscal year and beyond. Since in the future, we would like to make the contents of this program even better, we expect your continuous cooperation and participation. Thank you very much. And that's all from me. So back to Taguchi-san.
Okay, thank you very much, Nakayama-san, for sharing your findings. Actually, you are participating in this mutual learning program, so you saw or you have seen what's going on in the mutual learning program. Thank you very much. So actually, Mr. Nakayama-san pointed that characteristic of this program quite well. We all are working on this issue with a lot of uncertainty. So it means that what we can do is quite limited. So then we are trying to organize this program to have discussion and to exchange our ideas for understanding the artificial exposure reporting. So I could say this mutual learning program is quite unique and practical training program. Okay, so although I want to continue our discussion with you because you have many experiences, maybe you have many findings about the mutual learning program, but it looks like we've run out of time today. So I guess we will finish here. In this part one discussion, the actual mutual learning program participants shared their impression and insight about this program. So I hope this discussion will help you to understand this mutual learning program. So also we received some questions, but we are quite sorry for that. We cannot answer those questions. If possible, when we have the time, we can do it, but quite sorry for that. So thank you again for all the speakers and colleagues for your participation. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Okay, and that's all for the part one discussion. So I will get back to Chisa-san.
Thank you very much, Toru-san, for moderating the session and all the panelists for interesting discussions. And referring to the questions that we see in the Q&A box, I would sincerely appreciate if the panelists from countries can address them by typing answers directly in the box. That would be extremely useful if it is possible. Thank you very much. Pawina-san, Linda-san, Ogi-san, if you have chance, we would appreciate if you can answer the question in the box by typing answers. Thank you very much. So now let's move on to the second part of today's discussion session, where I'd like to invite two panelists who are yet to participate in the mutual learning program, but may participate in the future, to discuss with them how this kind of program can be helpful for their capacity building efforts in the years to come. So may I invite two panelists, Onyua-san from Lao PDR and Macau-san from Cambodia.
Yes. Good evening from Laos. Yeah. Cambodia.
Good evening. Yes, very, very good to see you. And Hakumao-san as well. Thank you very much. So distinguished participants, we have two panelists here with us. Onyua-san is the Deputy Director of the Department of Climate Change, Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, Lao PDR. And Hakumao-san is Director of the Department of Climate Change from the Ministry of the Environment, Cambodia. Thank you very much for joining us today, despite of your very busy schedule. In the part one discussion, we have heard about the mutual learning program for enhanced transparency, particularly the activity that we undertook this year. So I would like to ask both of you simple questions. So how, after hearing about the mutual learning program for enhanced transparency, how did you find those activities might be useful for your country to move on preparation for the enhanced transparency framework in the future? And if it is useful, what kind of topics or areas do you think this program can address with you? And also, because I understand both of you in your country are currently preparing for the implementation of the enhanced transparency framework, how do you think this kind of program can be linked with other your initiatives that is currently being undertaken? So those are the questions, and I would first like to invite Bonyua-san to share your thoughts. So Bonyua-san, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Sang, for your kind introduction. And also thank you very much for the panelists for sharing your experiences. Yeah, after hearing from your discussion, I also learned very useful information that you take it before. So based on the guidance questions, personally, I strongly do believe that for the mutual learning program will assist my country a lot. Particularly, will help us to more understanding on the reporting guidance under Paris Agreement, particularly for enhancing framework. And also, this program will guide us on how to improve the area of the next report, particularly national communication, as well as the coming biannual transparency report. And also, I do believe that this program also will assist us how to strengthen the network of the institution and individuals working particularly on preparation of the coming report, particularly biannual transparency report. And so these key topics and lesson learned would help us a lot for fulfill and improve the next report. And regarding to the priority topics or areas, apart from reporting of the mitigation, action, and greenhouse gas inventory, I also would like to point it that the topics on reporting on climate finance, receive, and including technology transfer should be also a priority topics for my countries. And regarding to the linkage of this program and this program activities with another capacity building initiative in Laos, I think apart from JCM activities that we always organize at least one capacity workshop per year, I think now we also under cooperation with the National University of Laos to develop the capacity building program on MRV for greenhouse gas inventory and mitigation monitoring and reporting. So this program is this program is under CBIT project. Also, we'll prepare for the next reporting. So I do believe that the mutual learning program will help us a lot to for preparing this short course program. We hope we'll finish around middle of next year, and then we will run the training program. Yes, I think this program is really useful for now. Yeah, thank you very much from my side.
Thank you very much, Bonyua-san. It's also very good to learn the status of your country's engagement with the CBIT program and led by your ministry and also National University of Laos. You have also pointed out these topics of climate finance and including technology transfer, I taken note of this very important element of reporting. And this year, today's side event focusing on reporting of Article 6 activities, but we have also another pair working on specifically mitigation actions reporting in the waste sector. These are the pair working between Indonesia and Thailand. So I would strongly believe this program can also adjust what you have said as interest and priority areas of reporting. So we would definitely like to come back to you and discuss more detail about the future engagement of your organization. And thank you very much for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
So Dr. Mao, I'd like to ask you the same questions to you. After hearing in the part 1, the mutual learning program for enhanced transparency, we would like to hear from you how those activities might be useful for your organization and maybe institution in the team, and how do you think this activity can be linked with other ongoing initiatives in Cambodia? So Mao-san, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Omi-san. I think it's a bit noisy from our side since I also sitting in the conference room. I really appreciate the contribution made by our previous speakers, especially the previous 3 speakers who share their experience, and based on their ideas and contribution, we see that this mutual training and learning is very important, of course. And I also appreciate the contribution from Lao colleague for the importance of this mutual learning for his countries. I think Cambodia also not so different from other countries in the area of these sectors. As you may know that nowadays, something has been changed. It's like what we heard, the climate has been changed, and also the situation of development or report also has been changed. As you may know that after we ratify the UNFCCC, the party required to develop the national communication, and this one it take every 4 years. It means that when we start developing the report, and then we have to wait for another 4 years in order to develop again. So it's a very long time. It means that sometimes it makes us not so interested. But after the Paris Climate Agreement, you can see that a lot of requirements made. For example, the country need to develop a biannual update report, biannual transparent report every 2 years, and then NDC every 5 years. And besides that, a lot of report that we also require to develop to enhance the transparency of the country, like MOB and so on and so forth. And on this, I think it's an opportunity that country have to build and learn more capacity in this area related to the inventories and also mitigation actions. And when we look at the Article 6, this is another requirement that we do need to meet. And even right now we are discussing on this article, during this meeting. But the idea we need to understand for each parties. The country like Cambodia, I think Article 6, of course, it really how to say implication for the country, and we need to take full understanding what it means and how important in the context of our country. So I think through this learning, it can provide one or another opportunity for us. It means that through sharing this kind of mutual learning, our country can find another opportunities or can have ideas how to strengthen our capacity, when we come into the development of this relevant report. And one more thing I would say that, under the learning, you share a lot of, sectors of contribution, for example, inventory methodologies, data collection, institutional arrangement, and so on and so forth. I think it is very important, that we need to understand. We know it's okay, but if we don't understand, I think it's another question that very difficult. And this mutual learning, provide opportunity for us to share our experience and also listen to our partner country experience as well. That it means that sometimes we face one challenge and other countries face another challenge, and when we share each other, we can find another solution for us. But I would say that even it's important, but with the scope of currently, I think it's not sufficient. We do need to expand more. And for me personally, I think what we have done right now, our peer is really with similar geography, with similar cultures, with similar economic condition, and also understanding. It can be one way that can improve our communication. But I think if we can expand this kind of learning with other countries, like at one country who more in-depth understanding the methodology and tool, I think it can provide another opportunity for us to learn from the other country as well, in order to improve the development of our country report. And besides that, recently we have a lot of training program from different institutions support. And of course, the training program, it depends on the objective of the program. And we have joined a lot, I would say. And I think having learned different tools, different methodologies, and different programs, it is an opportunity for us to have options, meaning that how to synchronize or how to collaborate in the different program, and to make use for our country purpose. I think it's very important. The program is learned for in general, but how to make use of the program for our country, I think it's very important for us. And on this, I think maybe with such kind of short period of time, we cannot learn much. In that sense, I think it's very important to have more opportunity, to learn, to understand in depth. I think I understand that the program to share the basic knowledge of the learning program. But if you want to enhance our capacity and to be able to make the report properly, I think maybe more capacity training we need in this area. And of course, I think that all the country may have better ideas and information in the area of reporting. And even with the current updated and in terms of climate change negotiation, and also with the current status of the requirement under the UNFCCC and under the Paris Climate Agreement for the development of different reports. So in general, I would say that it is very good opportunity for us, and it also a good opportunity for us to synchronize different training opportunity and to make use for the benefit of the country. So I would like to end my intervention here, and I happy to share when any question comes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mao-san, for sharing your thoughts. And I think one thing you really strike me is what you have said in the very end, the last point. This different capacity building opportunity need to be synchronized so that it can be more effective to support the capacity building in your country. And to this, actually, I have been also very much wondering about how these different programs, but still in the same transparency, can be really streamlined together. And Mao-san, if you have any suggestion from your end, how different programs can be synchronized or coordinated, let's say, if you have any suggestion on this point, I really appreciate your opinion on this. Do you have any thought?
Okay, thank you very much for giving me another opportunities. As you may know that recently we have, let's say right now, this is one program provided by Japan, but let's say we have another program under the program called Initiative for Climate Action Transparency. Under the program of we call Global Supporting Program, they also provide a similar training for enhancing transparency and so on and so forth. And beside that, we also have like other training and capacity building program with other program. On this, we try to make use different methodologies, different tools that different institutions or organizations use. And then we try to synchronize, or we try to understand how this different tool is important to our countries. Sometimes when we learn one tool, we feel that, oh, it's good. But sometimes when we learn more tool, we can compare. And then we don't want to miss anyone. So we try to synchronize between different tools in order to make for the benefit of our country. So this is what we have tried. And for example, in our country, right now we start developing MOV frame for transport sector. The idea we take from other experience, from other learning program, and also from this discussion with different experts, and then we can improve for our countries. Besides that, I jump a bit ahead from this discussion. We develop our update NDC, and we see that in order to know, or in order to trace the progress for our NDC implementation, we need to have a system in place. And on this, we try to create an online MOV system in order to trace the progress of NDC update. And the idea that we come for this because we learn from different training, and then we can make an idea for us how to important all the country like Cambodia. So I think it is what we have learned, and I think because of the time, and maybe we do need to have a further discussion later in case we want to know in detail. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mausan, for sharing the examples of how you have experienced these different tools coming to you, and you were able to compare which one is more suitable for your country. So thank you very much for sharing your experience. And I don't know if Bonyua-san, you would also like to add any other words related to what Mausan has mentioned.
Yes, particularly I would like to share some experience from JCM activities. I always ask the IGES side also when they provide us the capacity building. I will ask them please invite some good practice from other countries to I think it can be the key driver to encourage the private sector in Laos to involve more in the GCM activity. This is my lesson learned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bonyua-san, for highlighting the importance of sharing country experience, and that could really strive you to work more concretely and then go to the next step. Yeah, I have taken note on that. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. So thank you both for Bonyua-san and Mausan for your contribution to this part of the discussion. And I think we have heard a lot from you on the important question related to capacity building, and also some suggestion for the future mutual learning program. So we would like to keep in consideration of what you have said, and would like to approach you later on with more concrete ideas how we could possibly work together under this program next year and beyond. So thank you very much for your cooperation in this part 2 discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we are now coming to the end of the program. And if there is any questions to the panelists, we still have time to take. But so far, I see currently no questions in the box. And thank you very much for answering the earlier questions to the country. I hope those questions were answered well. Thank you very much for sharing everyone in the Q&A box. That's really appreciated. So coming to the final part of this today's event, I try to summarize what I have learned today as a takeaway from this event. So first thing I have taken note, there are 3 takeaways for me. And one is that I think panelists have stressed how it is important to learn different countries' experiences. And this is because countries face different challenges, and countries have tried different measures to address those challenges. So sharing this country experience is very important. And when coming to reporting and topics such as Article 6.2 reporting, which is new to everyone, sharing country experience to me seems to be essential. And this has been a case for the mutual learning program. So that's a lesson learned number 1. And for number 2, I think still there are a lot of needs have been shared by participants. For example, linkages between Article 6 and 13, and what if the final Article 6 decision made, how these are going to be impacting the countries' NDCs. And also there were mentioning about it is not only Article 6 reporting or mitigation actions or inventories, but also reporting on climate finance, including technology development. I think those are a very, very important point to make. And I think the programs such as mutual learning program, which is conducted in a small group, either 2 to 3 organizations, I think this program is able to adjust its content based on the needs of the country. So I think mutual learning programs should make use of that characteristic to accommodate its contents to the needs of the countries. And I have also learned that it is a way to also deepen the discussion by, for example, physically meeting in the near future. If it is a safe trip is possible, I totally agree with this. And also pairing of countries could be done. One way is country with similar conditions, but the other way also suggested countries with different conditions and experience, so that the more wider lessons learned can be shared. And I think this is also a very important lesson learned. And finally, I think what has been stressed the importance is of this networking that has been created through the mutual learning program. And this was possible because of the continuous engagement of countries through many activities of this program. And to me, this is very essential. I think at the end, Mao-san has mentioned about it takes time and it needs to be more inputs need to be done for the comparing different approach and methodologies. And this is taking time. And as you remember, the Paris Agreement transparency framework, one of its principles is improvement over time. So I think mutual learning program should not end at one time, but should continue so that it can support the improvement of transparency over time. And I think these 3 lessons I have learned, at least for me today, from the discussion with the panelists. And I believe these lessons are useful not only for the mutual learning program, but for any other capacity building program in transparency. So those are my takeaways. And I would like to thank you for the panelists for sharing very useful inputs to the discussion today and attending those who until the end of this event today. And thank you very much for your engagement. And I very much looking forward to seeing you again and sometime in the future. Thank you very much.